All right, folks, we're back after a little uninstall and reinstall of XAMPP here. So that was fun. If you ever do just get it completely blown away, you can go and essentially reload your database if you've exported it. So that might be a good thing for you folks to do real quick. So if you go to your database, there's an export option here, and you can just do a quick export, and we'll give you a file that has all of the tables and all of the contents of it. So if you do need to reinstall or recreate it, all you have to do is make a new database that's empty, and then come up here to SQL, copy paste that file in, hit run to recreate all your tables and all the data there. And then don't forget, you'll also have to remake that user. So not too bad. If you do have to go reinstall, it goes pretty quick here. But what we're going to need to do here, though, we need to go and edit the user's table here to add in their password hash. So in the users table, if we're going to store the password hash, so they're going to log in with their email address and their password hash, we can go and add a column. We're going to go add one column here after ID, and then we'll call this one password hash. And so the column here, password hash. Now the type here needs to be varchar, and these are pretty long, so probably like 255 is probably long enough for those. And then because this is new, we do want either to set it as nullable or give it a default. So for now, I'm going to set it as nullable because I don't have the password there. So now if I go look at my table data, I'll see password hash is null. And we're in pretty good shape. So I'm going to come back to my website here, and I'm going to grab this hash, and I'm going to copy that in at this column here. So I'm going to edit this row and give it the value of the password hash. As I go, and great. So now we have the password hash is set in here. So now I can go and see, hey, when I go try and log in, let's see if we can get the hash back out and see if it verifies here. Right, so we're going to come to our controller. We'll make a model for this one here. We go add a login model. And then our login model, we'll have to go and get that user from the database. Right, so we can probably just make our own function here. This ought to work pretty well. So let's make a function, get the database, get some information from users. This one's pretty close for a copy paste here. This will be for login, given an email address, and a password. Now we should probably return, what do you think, return a true or false if this is good or not. So we're going to select email address, and really all we need is then password hash from users, where email address, and this is getting a little long, so we want that down the line, is equal to the colon email address. And we'll go and bind that one in here. So we go and grab our bindings here real quick, like for email address. I like and this as often as I can, just go copy paste if we need to. So we'll prepare the query, we'll bind the value, now we're going to get some results. We'll fetch. Now, fetch all will get you all the rows, fetch will get you one row here. So it's probably all we need for that. And then we'll get the password hash is equal to, this is really just a user then, user of password hash, because that's the name of our field here. Then we can go and verify. Right, so this should be pretty good, and we can go and verify. Now, if we didn't have any rows, right, we might have a little bit of trouble with this. We should make sure we did get some results first. So if user is null, you just return false. That login didn't work. Right, that was no good, and we're done. So we didn't get any rows back, no results, nothing to show here. Otherwise, then we'll get their hash back out, and then we can, oh, we got to close the cursor here as well. There we go, close the cursor. We'll get their hash, and then we're going to do the password verify. So we'll say password verify. We're going to give it the password we were given and the password hash we got out of the database. And really, that will just give us a true or false. We can just return that value of the password verify. So either the user didn't exist, we couldn't find the email address, or we're going to see if the password matched here. So that's our login function. So in our login controller, we can go and, so we'll need to include the database and the login. So we go grab these. we'll try, put all this probably on a try block. It's a good idea too. Put all this in a try block in case some bad stuff happens. And if there's a bad thing that happens here, again, we'll just go copy paste. We'll catch that error message and give them that error message. Okay, a little format. So we got their information, we got the email address, we got the password, we got the hash. Now we shouldn't need that any further here. So we're going to see if we have these values, right? See if we can get those out and get the login view. And then we will see, so our, I don't know, our result then, or is logged in maybe, is logged in, is our, oh, we need to include the login model, not the user's model. Login, given the password, given the email address and the password, right? And the password. So we don't actually need to calculate the hash here. We'll get back to that in a little while once we figure out if we want to create an account or not. So let's see if this will run here for us now. Oh, we should probably do something with that result. So maybe we echo out that result. Echo is logged in, is logged in, and see what we get here. Okay, so let's go to our login page. Is logged in. Nothing right now, right? We weren't able to log in at all. We got our results. And then password was test at opencc.edu. Password was test, and is logged in as 1. So 1 is true, right? So it's a little funny here. So we could really say, hey, if is logged in, then we can echo logged in successfully, something like that. Otherwise, we can say echo invalid username or password or something like that. Again, it's not the prettiest thing. Maybe we can give them a better message, but that'll be okay for now. That one to run. We'll try and log in here. Test, and we get logged in successfully. So now that we are logged in, it might be nice to actually do some other things here, right? And we should probably clean up this view a little bit here as well. So we got our login view. It probably should use the header and the footer instead, like our other views do. So we want to include the top nav here and the footer. So we'll go to our login, our head. This is including the top nav, right? Okay, and then a line break. Let me zoom in a little bit here, sorry. There, it's a little bit nicer. A little line break, and then we'll get the footer here as well when we're done. After all of that. All right, I think we're good there, right? Footer, yep, okay. So just clean that up, make it look a little nicer here, and then give that a run, go to our login page. All right, so invalid to start. That's not great that it's inside of there. So if we haven't even tried, right, we probably shouldn't give them a login message. So we'll come back and clean this up here in a little bit, but we're going to see if email address does not equal an empty string and my password, nope, there's the $, does not equal an empty string. Then we'll try and log in here and do this login thing. Right? We'll see if they're not empty, then we'll try to log in. Otherwise, we'll come back to this message in a little bit here. Right? And then if they are logged in, right, now what we need to do is we need a place to store this. So we have this idea of having a session, which is super cool, that we can add stuff to. And let me go grab that real quick. Right, so to set something in the session, what our controller needs to do is use the session. So the first thing we want to do is say session start. That will start making sure we're connecting to the session. This is tracked on the web server, which is really cool. So we're going to track this information as long as the user is on the page. We'll have the session that we can start attaching information to. And then we can go and say, all right, once they are logged in, we have this $_session variable we can start giving things to, and this is a list. So we can add in here, this is logged in here, and we can say is true. We can say, hey, they have been logged in. once they're logged in here. Then we can do other things in the view if this session value is logged in or not. Right, so we can even check to see if it's been set or not as well, if you want. Right, so that was if it was nothing, and then really this is if login. We should say if login was successful, then we'll set the session. Otherwise, we need some sort of message here. So maybe we have some sort of message. Login failed. Please try again. Right, so if you did give me the information, but it didn't work, right, we got the login was false, then we'll have that message here. So we can check, fix up our view here. We can look and see, hey, if there's a message, so do a little PHP block. If message does not equal nothing, I guess we can just echo the message, right? Why not? We'll just echo PHP echo message, because if it's not set, then that's fine. We won't put anything there. So just have a nice little message on the page if they're logged in or not. And then we can go and see whether or not we need to give them any sort of information as well here in a second. So let's come back here, see if we can't launch out our page. Come back here. All right. Oh, undefined variable. No, we did that wrong. So if it's not set here, then we should go and set it otherwise. Let's go check. We'll say, hey, if is set, the session, $under is logged in, and if it's not set, then we'll go and set it here, and we'll say, hey, logged in is false, just to make sure we have a value there. Maybe a little bit nicer. All right, let's give that a run. Go to our login page. Oh, no, it was message. Oh my goodness, there was message, not this one here. That's not what we wanted. We wanted message. So we'll set message equal to nothing, just to make that a little easier for us. There we go. Now there's no message, so we can log in. Log in as test. We get is logged in as set here in the session, but we don't see anything at all because we haven't done anything with it. So now what we can do here in our top nav here, here's our top navigation. Here we go. We can say, hey, let's start the session and get some information out. So we want to start a little PHP block. PHP start session. Actually, the top nav should probably already have the session here. This will be okay. So we'll say, hey, if my session value, if is set $under session is logged in, right? So if it's set, and if it's true. And checking if a Boolean is true or false, you don't need to say if it equals true. You can just say if it's there, right? If it's true, right, it'll be there. So we have that set. So if it's set, then we want to take that top nav. Oops, I should not have copy pasted that out there. That's a bummer. Let me grab that one here. I'll undo some more. Where did I cut? Oh dear, that's a lot of undoing. Come on. There we go. Put that back. So if we're logged in, then we'll show them the rest of the top navigation here. If we're not logged in, we're not going to do anything. Right, so if we're logged in, we'll do these things. If we're not logged in, then this stuff doesn't happen, and we're in pretty good shape. So where's our PHP? There we go. And our brace there. So if we're logged in, we should get links then for stock users and transactions. Otherwise, we'll only get links for index and login. right? We could even say like welcome, you know, that might be fun too to put in like a little top nav, you know, welcome so and so, but we haven't set that name or anything. So let's see now. So in our regular top nav, it's not been set. We don't have it here. So all I get is home and login. Oops, login. I think I might have been logged in previously here. Let me add a logout button here real quick. And then, so if it's set, we'll add a logout. href equals, so we'll do this to the login PHP controller. And then we'll say action equals logout. We can just pass that as a get parameter here. And we'll call that logout. Logout. There. So then our login controller, we can check to see if the action is logout, then we can go do something here. So probably before any of that, I don't know exactly if it matters where, so we can check if, so we need to get an action. We'll check for an action. Let's go just copy that off of one of these here. You're doing that before. Okay, get the action here, and then we'll do that first. We'll say if action. If action is equal to, and this is from input get, right? We're just going to do that as a get parameter. Action equals logout. So to log out, you need to go and clear the session. You do a couple things here. So we're going to take that session value, and we're going to set it equal to a brand new blank array. Right? Get rid of all the things that are inside of it here in case we were storing something, and you call session destroy. We'll destroy the session. So clear all those other values then. Then we can go and see, hey, maybe we can try and log in from there. So, all right, so we got log out, and we're pretty good. Let's see. Let's try that now. I'll come back to our page here. Where'd it go? Over here. All right. So home, login, let me log out. Okay, now we're logged out here, right? We don't actually have any of those values. We can't log back in here. Nice. So now we can try and log back in, test. Let me give it something like a user that doesn't exist. All right, we'll try login. We get login failed. Please try again. Login failed. Please try again. If I log in and there's no values, I don't get any errors, which is okay, probably. And test. And there we go. Now we get the rest of our application, our links here. Now, we still could go to these links, even if we were not logged in. Oh, the other ones don't have the session started. That's why. So we need to start the session on the rest of our controllers here. So the index page just has top nav and footer. We could probably start the session, though, because we might have already been logged in. We can start the session here in stocks, start the session in transactions, and start the session in users. All right, let's give that a refresh here. Nope, it's launching on the wrong window here. Okay, so back to home, login, stocks, users, transactions. So we probably don't need the login page then if we are logged in, right? That could be the other option. So in our top nav here, the else block here then, right? So else, we'll have this one here. PHP, and that one. So we'll always have the home link, which really doesn't take us a whole lot of places here. And then we will optionally have the login button if we are not logged in. So home and login, or the login here, right? We can log back in, test and test, go around, navigate our pages. Again, the home page is kind of silly at this point here, but that's okay. And we'll get the logout. Right, it takes us back to the login page. We can log back in. Right, so we can log in, we can log out, we can see if users are there. But now for our other pages, we kind of want to see, hey, if we're not logged in, right? Because if I'm not logged in here, let me go back to my page. That's what I was going to show you. I could still go to like stocks.php, and they still list for me here. That's not ideal, right? So what we can do is we can protect those pages here, and we can really, that's sort of more like a utility function. So I'm going to add a new folder here for utility here. And then this utility is going to, this will be ensure logged in or something like that. That's probably fine. I'm trying to remember exactly what the book called it here, but that's okay. To see if we're logged in or not. So we can say, hey, if the not is set, session is logged in. If it's not set, right, then that's no good. Right? We don't want it at all. There we go. Okay, it's missing those braces. Or if it is set, but it's false, is logged in. Now this one we do need to compare. We'll say if this one equals false. Here. So we're gonna say, okay, if it's not set that you're logged in, or it's set to false, what we're gonna do is we're gonna header you back to the location of just back to the home page. This is our little header utility. That's all it checks here. That's all we have to do. So then in our controllers then that need to be protected, we can just include this one here. Oh, we need to start the session. Start the session as well. Make sure we have that session so we can go check those session values. There we go. So we can then require that to be checked. And what's cool is that's actually going to start the session for us then. So kind of clean this up. So before we require those other ones, we can require once our utility / ensure logged in PHP. That'll start up the session for us. Make sure we're logged in. If not, we'll bounce us back. We can do that on all of our pages here. And then yeah, we can get rid of that session start, which is nice as well. Get rid of that one too. Sorry, my zoom is very inconsistent here. That's the problem with it being a mouse wheel. All right, so we're going to protect stocks, transactions, and users. Make sure that you are logged in. The home page and the login page are perfectly fine. No problem with those. We'll give that another run here. I'll just come back and just refresh. So we'll go back to our home page. Now we're going to see, hey, can I get this stocks.php? Oops, undefined function. Oh dear. Start session. Oh, it's backwards. It's supposed to be session start. There we go. Session start, not start session. That would be, helpful if you can type that the right way. All right, we'll come back, refresh. So if I try to go to stocks, PHP, it just bounces me back, right? I try and go to transactions, PHP bounces me back. Login I can get to though, right? And then when I'm logged in, I can go to these pages and I'm not bounced back because I am logged in. The value is set. So we can protect those pages, make sure you're logged in. Now, again, it might be nice, like, that you have different types of users, to have an administrator user and a regular user. So a regular user could go in and manage themselves, and the admin user could go and, I don't know, manage other accounts. But that's about enough for now. So we've got that set up. So hopefully you folks can follow along, make sure you get this up and working here. If you have any trouble, if you have any problems, let me know. Happy to get you straightened out. You folks take care.